Hey guys, I'm here with Karo from Total Body Composition, that they use the InBody scan technology to take a really detailed look at what's going on in your body, because it's much better than just getting a number off the scales. So I look forward to seeing what I'm going to get here.
Perfect. Cool. So first of all, we do your height before you get on the machine. But you do need a wipe. So this is a specially formulated InBody wipe. It helps with the conductivity and it protects your machine. So you always got to use one of the InBody wipes to get your scan done. So that's just for your hands and the bottoms of your feet. Once you're done that, we're going to do your height right up on that one.
Alright, I'm not going to share my height. Can we make the height a little bit higher?
Yeah, we'll chuck a couple centimeters on there just for you. We'll get that bun on the top. Just sort of wear. Good, perfect. You pop nice and tall. Nice. Just gonna tap you on the head. Great. So stepping right over to the machine.
Okay.
Measuring your weight.
So this one does your weight next.
Okay.
Nice and still.
Weight measurement is completed.
Okay, so you're just going to enter your phone number in there. That's your unique ID. That saves it to you. There's also an app too, the InBody app, so it sends your reports right to your phone so you can digitally keep everything in there.
I've shrunk.
Oh, they all say that. Okay. Good. Alright, so those handles are for you. So there's a connection on the back and one on top.
Yeah.
Thumbs go on top, arms are nice and straight, and armpits are free. Good. Feet are all good. She's good how she is. So there's 8 points of contact with the InBody machine, and that's what's going to send the current through your body so it meets all them. So it sends a small current through your body, so it measures for resistance. So it, from this, it's going to come up with the value of how much water mass you're made up of, how much muscle mass, how much lean mass you're made up of, and then all your other measurements, like your segmental circumferences, so your girth measurements, your body fat percentage. It even does your visceral fat, which we'll talk to in the next video when we go over the scan, which is that fat that surrounds our abdominal area. It's a more dangerous fat. So it only takes about 40 seconds or so before you're done your scan, and then it's going to do the printout. So Noni's nearly done here. She's got 15% more to go. And it will be done. Good. So that one's all done. You may step off. She's doing all right, old Noni.
That didn't even hurt at
Not
all.
yet. Cool. So everyone that gets a scan with us, you get an interpretation booklet if it's your first scan, which gives you in detail about your scan. But we always make sure that we go over it with you so that you understand just what the numbers mean as well, because it can be very comprehensive. There's over 40 readings on your body scan, but there's a few that you're just going to focus on when it comes to measuring for your nutrition and your exercise plan. Good. So here we go. We got the report, and that's for you, Noni. And now we're going to go over it shortly.
Awesome. Thanks. Results are in.
Oh dear.
Karo's going to take us through my results from the InBody scan from Total Body Composition, and we're going to learn all about it. So here we go.
Sounds good. All right, so here we have Noni's scan. First of all, what I always talk about is this muscle fat analysis, because here it's going to give you a breakdown of not just your weight, but where the weight comes from. So the top one is your weight, and this green part right down the line is the normal zone at which you want to aim at to be at. So some things you are going to be a little bit over in, and that's not a bad thing if you're over in normal. So here you've got the weight. So anywhere from that green zone is a good amount of weight to your body. Up here, the InBody is going to tell you a good reference range where to sit at for weight. Even I always suggest never be on this low side. That's a very, very low unhealthy weight to your height. Even aiming for, if you're on the higher side of weight, it's not a bad thing. You're probably still in a good range as long as your muscle mass is reading a bit higher. Okay, so here you've got your muscle mass, this line. This is a really important one. So this is the skeletal muscle mass, the muscle that's attached to your skeleton. This line we only have really control of is through exercise and resistance training. That's what's going to bring it and keep it on the high side of normal or in the normal zone. So you can see here for Noni's, I always say suggestively at least be at that 100, but if you can bring it to the overside, that's even better. You're carrying a higher amount of muscle to your body. So she's sitting here over at like the 110 percentile. So when I say that, I mean she's about 10% higher than the ideal range of muscle mass. So she's over that muscle. That's good. Here's our body fat mass. So the good thing about the InBody, it actually picks up all types of fat to our body. If you've ever had skin fold calipers done before, it only does your subcutaneous fat. That's one type of fat. InBody does your subcutaneous, of course. It also does your visceral fat, which we will get to in a second. It's your dangerous fat around your organs. And it does you have a fat in your neck and shoulder area. It's like a browner fat. It controls your body's heat and your metabolism. And that's also in this total body fat here. So up here is your reference range at what to sit at for fat mass. And this is repeated here again. So here you've got your muscle fat analysis. We always refer to it as a traffic light system, meaning that you can be in a C, I, or a D shape. So a D shape is the aim. That's what you're going for. You really want to have a higher muscle composition to your weight versus that fat mass. An I, you're not predominantly anything. You're kind of in a uniform measure of your muscle and fat to your weight. And then a C shape, we do say try maybe to fix this one, meaning that your weight might be generally over in fat mass. And you're looking to kind of even those out so that you get to an I and eventually a D shape. So you can see for Noni's here, she is created that D shape, meaning that she carries a lot more muscle to her weight versus fat. We've got your BMI. I don't really focus on that one a whole lot.
BMI is interesting because it's something that I've never really kind of agreed with, because when you're looking at it isolated by itself, because you never are able to see what the muscle ratio is in BMI. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So for Noni, she's obviously like not a very high weight, but you will get people that have a higher amount of muscle, lower amount of fat, and a high BMI. So medically, they say you are overweight, and sometimes they use the word obese. We don't use the word obese anywhere on the scan. Can be very daunting and misleading because you can carry a higher amount of weight by being a stronger, more athletic person, and then that BMI reads you obese, which is very, very incorrect.
So there you go. Just make sure if you're at the doctor's or somewhere where they only tell you your BMI, don't really take it with a grain of salt.
Absolutely. You can look more so on body fat percentage. It does have a bit of downs to it too as well, but your percentage for females, our reference range is 18 to 28%. Men a little bit less, generally because they have a little bit more muscle makeup to their body, but they are 10 to 20% for men. So females 18 to 20%. Unless, so in Noni's circumstance here, she does sit a little bit lower because she's obviously quite leaner than the average female. So she sits a bit lower, which is not a bad thing at all. I always refer back to your weight and your muscle. Do you have a healthy weight? Are you at that 100? And is your muscle good? If you've got these two good and you get a high InBody score, your percentage can go a little bit lesser because you've got that healthy weight. If you are a female that dips too low in weight and maybe you don't have as much muscle and you still have low fat, your percentage may be low, but by weight control, it's going to say to put on some weight and fat to get you back to that healthy range there. So there we go. That's Noni. That's her body fat percentage. So that's how much fat you have to your weight, and that's the percentile.
So is this why I get cold in the surf?
Absolutely.
And I'm such a wuss in the cold climate.
You don't have any of that
excuse for
fat.
now.
You need the fat to insulate you. Yeah, that's it. But you'll be a lot faster. Yeah. For sure. You don't have anything weighing you down. Here you've got your segmental lean analysis. So I just described this. It's going to give you a breakdown of your arms, your legs, your trunk. So your lean mass is anything without fat. So these body parts without fat, what's left over is this lean mass. So generally, it's where your muscle is going to be to your body. So a lot of physios or whatnot may use this just to compare to see if you're balanced or not. You do see a lot of imbalances. I've seen many over the years. So you're going to see that weight right on that top line. So Noni's is really even. Like that's very even. These percentiles you want within a few percent of each other. So right on. And then legs, that's really even too. Like a smidgen more in your right leg versus your left. Yeah. But not even a percent. So at these
good.
lines.
You want them to be even, obviously.
Yeah, you do. Because you might have someone who's with a sport or something like that, where they've got a dominant arm or a dominant leg, and it's kind of imbalanced.
So sorry, what's this bottom number, the
Yep.
percentage?
So this bottom is a percentage of ideal lean mass to your body weight. So here's ideal, 100%. So if you've got a good amount of lean mass on that corresponding limb there on the left-hand side, you'll have 100. If you carry a bit more muscle than normal to your weight, you may exceed the normal. So for you, you've got a little bit like more muscle and lean mass than ideal.
Okay.
But that's a good thing. Lean mass is good. So you can see maybe your upper body actually a bit more than your lower body, but barely.
That's obvious.
Yeah. Is it? There we go. It's obvious. She knows this. And here we go. It's going to say if you are balanced or not. If it's balanced, if it's quite balanced, it's going to say that you're balanced. So for you, you are balanced. So I'll pop in down to this one. So this is your body water analysis. Some people don't go over that too much. I definitely do a little bit, because this is a reflection of how well your body water is balanced throughout your body. So if you're retaining too much fluid, or if you're on the dehydrated side to your body cells. So if somebody has an injury, or maybe diabetic person, edema, swelling, stuff like that, you might carry a bit more water mass to your body. It's sitting underneath your skin. So that's why that's here. InBody is a medical machine. So this is a really good one that they read for, especially in the renal clinics in the hospitals.
Is it to do with kind of inflammation? Or...
Yeah,
Yeah?
absolutely. If you've got inflammation, boom, it's going to go here. So it's a really good one to measure, especially through food and whatnot. If you're reducing like bad foods, processed foods, sodium and stuff like that, it may start to go down, and then you'll see a better change in your weight as well too. Because if this is high, you're going to be carrying a lot of excess weight, and it can get in the way of your goals.
Okay.
Yep. So for you, so 0.36 to 0.39, and you're right in the middle. So that's perfect. Cool. If it is too high, you actually don't even get an InBody score. It says seek medical help.
Oh.
Yeah, but you got one.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, so we'll go to this one next. So this is your InBody score. It's a reflection of this muscle fat analysis and how much muscle you have to your weight. So if you've got that D shape happening, if you have a healthy weight, you will score probably in the 80s or 85 plus. So that's the indicator of a good score, is 85 plus. So you got there, boom, right on.
Cool.
85, good weight, high muscle, and then good balance there. This is a target weight. So obviously for Noni's, she keeps herself well. So it doesn't say that she needs to do anything. It is going to tell you what to lose in fat or what to put on in muscle if you are exceeding a certain amount or under in a certain amount. It will never tell you to lose muscle. So if you're over in muscle, that's fine. But if you are under in muscle, or if you've got a bit of an imbalance and carry more fat than muscle, it may tell you to put on muscle. And if your fat is over, it will tell you what to lose in fat to get it back down to that 100 mark. So you see some giant numbers here sometimes.
So would that be a good indicator too of people knowing whether they need to focus more on, strength exercise than cardio exercise, for example, if they were to have that muscle control figure saying that they needed to build muscle? Would they then focus on weight to resistance training?
Absolutely. If that says put on muscle, your muscle density is going to be lower. And that's where you should really focus on adding resistance training and eating a proper diet, of course, to build the muscle to your body frame. Because if your muscle is low, your water may be low to your body. And this one too, I'll bump to it right now. It's your bone mineral content. So this is the weight of your skeleton to your body, which is correlated right to your bone density. So obviously that's the strength to your bones. And for long-term health, you want to have a healthy skeleton. You want it to be strong. You don't want to have brittle bones. You want to be more efficient at movement. So muscle, bone density, bone mineral content is all going to help you there to have a better fulfillment of your life and your energy. So for Noni's, you can see she's on the higher side. I say it's always good to sit on the higher side. And if it even goes over, that's totally fine. That's a good thing. But yeah.
That's amazing, the bone mineral content, that it even gives you that.
Yes. Yep. that's that mineral content to
Yeah.
your skeleton. So that's why it's so important to get the whole picture of what you're made up of, not just your weight. You can be a low weight and be unhealthy and not eat, and have low muscle and high fat and have a high body fat percentage and low bone mineral content. So it's more so about looking at what's inside your body than just the number outside.
Definitely.
So here it breaks down where the fat lies. That's your segmental fat
Yeah.
analysis.
So that's that 8.8
Yep.
divided, isn't it?
Absolutely. If you added all those,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get 8.8 kilos of fat.
And I can see, so the most of my fat is in my trunk.
Yes, good.
Region.
Some people do mention that quite a bit.
Mm.
So our trunk always has the most amount of fat to your body.
And
These
that's okay, isn't it?
Yep.
Because that's where the fat lies around all your organs, and
Yep.
that's like a protection. And
absolutely, and it's around your chest and your part of your butt is in that trunk fat.
oh, okay.
So yours is actually really low. Even if it's like out to here, it's totally still a good, fine amount of fat to your body. These two little bars here is where you want to sit at. But I say even if you're over a little bit in trunk fat, it's not a bad thing really. It can be that you have, like a larger chest or booty or something. So it increases that trunk fat. But yes, it also has all of that visceral fat because that's where all your organs are in the trunk. So it's going to give that level there of your visceral fat.
Okay.
I'll just pop that one quick. Those are your circumferences to your body parts. A lot of people like to know how they change throughout cleaning up their diet and exercising.
That's really cool because in my, ThermoFit challenge, I ask people to do their measurements, not just their weight, but, the easy things that they can do themselves at home.
Yeah.
And it can vary a lot between, who's doing it for you, or just, you might do a little bit higher or lower or not quite the same spot. But this gives you a really good, accurate, like crazy accurate rundown of your circumferences.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And you're right, like depending who's measuring you, and if you're like maybe a bit more puffier with water or something that day, you might get a big variance. So this is always relevant to what you are with the InBody scan. So this does it all for you. And then here's your visceral fat. So let's just touch base on this bad boy.
Yeah, that's an important one. This
Ding,
is
ding,
like,
ding.
important for the skinny fat people. If you've heard of that term before, it's, people that may appear quite thin on the outside to the visual eye, but it's the visceral fat level that we need to think about. So tell us a bit more about that.
Sure, yeah. So first of all, a healthy visceral fat level is 1 to 9. So this is the deep internal fat. It's a yellowish fat that surrounds your organs to your body. So you can imagine having a higher amount of fat around your organs, how much harder they're going to have to work to try to keep you alive and keep you going day to day. The more fat you have around your organs, the more you're suffocating them. So visceral fat is a dangerous fat if you have too much. 1 to 9 is really good. Personally, I always say if you can stay at like level 4 to 6, then you've got a little room to play with. 3, even better. Perfect. Lots of room to play with. But I've seen many of these maxed out at level 20, and you don't even see people start to lose it below 20 until maybe their fat mass drops like 10, 15 kg. This is highly related to the health, the energy of your life. It's correlated directly to heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Diabetes is a major one, and even mental issues, depression and stuff like that is belly fat around your belly.
Right.
And that's that one. So if you do, you'll see people with like a larger belly. Maybe they're slim everywhere else, but they have a poor diet or high alcohol or high processed carbohydrates, stuff like that. And you'll see their belly really protruding. That is visceral fat, and it's very dangerous. So it is a very dangerous fat. I always really speak about that to people because this directly relates to the health of your life. And if you get an InBody scan, of course, it's going to tell you what it is. Skin fold calipers won't do that. Your measurements are going to give you an indicator too, but you definitely want to keep that one in check. With healthy eating, 90% what you eat is related to that belly fat that goes around there. So yeah, I think I spoke enough about that. I think we get the importance of that. I'll shut up now.
Rewind that part if you need to hear it again.
Yeah. If you really want, every time you go for that, like full milkshake or meat pie, sausage rolls.
Instead of the saying it's going straight to your thighs or straight to your hips, it's going straight to your visceral.
Yeah, it's going.
just
Yeah,
change
that's
it,
it.
yeah.
It's actually healthier if it goes to your thighs.
Yeah.
Because your thighs aren't organs. You're gonna have fat thighs. They just don't look nice. Okay, a bit more in the research parameters. I won't go over anything too much detail. You've got your water levels, intra and extracellular. It's how much fluid you hold inside your cell and outside your cell. If you add them together, you get your total body water. So your weight may fluctuate day to day. Never weigh yourself every day because it's going to change even from morning, night, especially with how much water you're holding. Or if you've had, if you had a high carbohydrate few days, it's probably going to be a lot of excess fluid to your body. So that's how much water you have and a breakdown of how much is in and outside of your cells. You've got your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. I don't know if you use that one too much in your challenge or anything, but this is how many calories your body burns doing nothing each day.
Yeah, just fully resting, right?
Fully resting.
Yeah.
Not moving, not talking, not eating. Is that one. So the more muscle you have, ding ding, the higher you're gonna burn doing nothing. Muscle is way more metabolically active than fat is. Fat just sits there.
Yeah, that's right. I do say in my programs that if the more muscle that you have, then the more you're burning energy just doing nothing. So if you don't know whether to focus on cardio or weights, or you're someone who does a lot of cardio workout and not a lot of weights, maybe look at kind of adjusting that, because the weights exercise keeps giving back longer after the cardio does. Obviously, cardio has many benefits as well, but if you can build your muscle, that kind of keeps going longer.
Yeah,
gives you
absolutely.
results longer.
Because a lot of people say, oh, I'm old now, my metabolism's slowed. They are right, but it's probably because they've lost muscle mass, so they're not burning as much. So you can get a hold of that. And I have seen many, even females in their 50s, 60s, put on muscle mass with a good training and eating program. So they've boosted their metabolism even later on in life. So yeah, you want to burn more doing nothing, because then you can eat more and not get fat. So yeah, that's why we like it. Here's your waist to hip ratio. It's just your waist divided by your hip circumference. Always an indicator of how much belly fat you carry. Viscerals again. The weight of your skeleton, bone mineral, we went over that one. Weight of your cell mass to your body. A good strong muscle mass is going to increase that cell mass to your body. And then arm and muscle circumference. I will say why we put it on there, because this is another medical one that they do measure for. So it's to do with like a hormonal imbalance. So if you are training, putting on muscle and losing fat, but yet this circumference between the two is getting larger, then something's going on hormonally where you're starting to store fat in your tricep area or an estrogen imbalance. So that's why that one is there, just to mention it, because it is on there too. Okay, so there we go. That's your whole scan. Do you have any questions, Noni, about it?
How often should you have one of these done?
Yeah, good question. I always say if you're doing like a challenge, depending how drastic you're changing your nutrition or your training, I say don't get one done every week for sure. 2 weeks, you're kind of pushing it. 3, maybe. But I generally say anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks to measure it. Because if you wait really long and it's been like 4 months, you may have been doing something wrong or overeating to your body anyways, and now you don't even know, and it's been that long. So I say 4 to 8 weeks to get everyone to get one done. To see change, notable change. You don't want to weigh yourself even every week. I mean, not every day.
No, definitely not. Yes.
Cool. And here too, I didn't mention these two. That's just the protein content that your body's made up of. A high amount of muscle increases actually the nitrogen in our cells, which increase this protein content. So it's a nutritional state on how well your body's kept through a skeletal muscle mass portion. So you want to be nice in that zone, or high is good. And the minerals is the weight of your hair, skin, nail, and skeleton. And all these 4 components equal your total body weight.
Awesome.
Cool. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So there you go. You have the full comprehensive scan through InBody and the total body composition scan.
And it's like what I always say to my challengers when they're going through a challenge or anything, they're focused on their health. Over my years of personal training and weight loss coaching, I've seen that many people lose their mind over the scales and the mental battles that it can create when there's no need for it. When you actually look at what's really going on, it's a totally different story. So sometimes I even recommend to my clients who are weighing themselves like every day to ditch the scales altogether and to maybe do one of these every 4 to 8 weeks, because that's going to give you the true story. So I've heard that this is the next best thing to having like a CT scan or a CAT scan. Is that right?
Dexa. Well, it is actually correlated. We did a study the other week, and it came out with the exact same reading as a Dexa scan. So, but you do, if you get other scans, I won't name any names, but other technologies out there, they use estimational data. So based on your age, gender, and weight, it guesses your trunk, which is obviously the most amount of weight. So you get massive invariances, and you're comparing something that's wrong against something that's wrong. So really try it yourself if you do get one through us, Total Body Composition, or if they're using the InBody technology, that's what you want to look for. InBody technology, scientific studies against how it works, and it is very accurate, very accurate.
Cool.
All good.
Thank you again.
No problem.
I'll leave some details about how and where you can get your scan done.
Perfect.
Thanks, Karo.
Thanks, Noni. There you go.